Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome into the AOE with AD. Attitude over everything. Former Husker football national champion, speaker, and author, Aaron Davis. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is Wednesday night, and I'm feeling all right. We got my man Harrison holding it down in the studio. Harrison, it feels weird being here back on a Wednesday night again, man.
That's right. That's where you originated.
That's what all started. Ripping with Rap and AD.
Yeah.
And dude, here's the crazy thing about it, man. Folks, thanks for joining us tonight. You can join us. We have the Royals game going on the main station. Okay, 9.7 taking care of the Royals station. The Royals game is going on tonight. But you can watch us live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, or on Allo Channel 951. Again, you can watch us live stream it live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and on Allo Channel 951. It is good to be here. It's been a long time coming. My travel schedule has been crazy, hence why my mind is just now dropping tonight.
Yeah, he's been trying, guys. For all those listening, he's been reaching out. He's trying out here.
Hey, Harrison, I almost tried it from where I would have been. I think I would have been at the Ozarks or either in Chicago. It would have been Chicago a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Regardless, I was somewhere else, and I was like, I didn't want to deal with all if the technology didn't work right, if there was drop-offs, if there was unnecessary noise. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
You don't want your debut
to
be full with errors.
No, I want it to be right, but it is gonna be back here. And I still sit here, Harrison. I'm thinking in the mornings, I don't think it hits me as much, but in the evenings, when it's kind of like when I never forget when DP, God bless him, and Rav talked me into doing this radio thing, man. I'm like, man, I'm not doing no radio, man. Because
I never got the full story. How skeptical were you?
Off the scale skeptical, put it that way. I was like, no, because dude, I'm used to seeing people, face to face.
Yeah.
You're getting that energy from the audience. It's right there in the audience. Radio, this microphone was very intimidating to me, man. I mean, very. And quite honestly, and this for the folks out there, is the Attitude Over Everything podcast. But I was scared. I mean, full transparency, bro. I was just scared. I'm like, man, I've never done radio, done interviews, but never radio to where you're there. So I'm appreciative to DP and Becca and Mark. And of course, my co-host, my boy Raph, man, for talking me into this, saying, look, man, step outside your comfort zone. You talk about it all the time, Mr. Motivational Speaker. I was like, yo, save that, man. I'm the speaker. Leave me alone. I ain't trying to hear you use my own bullets against me, man. But it's been a lot of fun because, as you know, Harrison, as gifted and talented as you are, it's a different platform. It's a different medium to we can reach people and hopefully impact, make them laugh, educate, and just, if nothing else, just some banter sometime, man. It talks about sports and about life. And that's what I really wanted this one to be. So when DP came to all of us about what we want to be, well, my brand is about attitude. How do you keep it? How do you develop and how do you protect it? And that's been a huge thing for me in this. So, folks, thanks for joining us this evening. We've got a number of great shows throughout the week, all the different podcasts that go on, all the different shows that go on throughout the day. So without you, though, there is no us. So thank you for your support. Harrison always holding it down. Harrison, how old are you, man? 20 what?
24.
Oh, gosh, man, I got shoes older than you, dog.
You probably do.
Literally, you're the same. In fact, my oldest son, little AD, is 25. Keenan's 23 and Nine's 19. So, yeah, I could be your pops, man. I could be your pops. Different hues of skin color, but I could be your pops. Someone was adopted. But, Harrison, I appreciate you holding the studio down every evening, man, because I know when it's just you here sometimes, it can be, not going to say lonely, but it's kind of like you're running the ship, man.
Yeah, it feels great now, though. I'm not going to lie. It's great to kind of, because I got to see a lot of you guys when you guys were first testing out. Ticket Weeknights was like, it used to be kind of like a testing ground.
Yeah.
And now it's obviously expanded, just full on shows. But it was cool to see all those guys. And damn, everyone got upgraded to the day shows. And I was like, all right. But hanging around back here, no, it's been great. Everyone's hopping back in. We got all these personal podcasts, meeting the student athletes. One thing DP does is he puts together a family really well because he treats this company. We're coworkers, but he cares further than just being coworkers. Right. He really does care about everyone individually. So yeah, it's been awesome. Even though some people are moving and going, that's how it goes. But it's just been an awesome experience. Period. Absolutely. Like I can't complain.
It's family. It's definitely a family atmosphere, and it's amazing how close you can get with guys and girls who you're with every day. And the culture is there. Speaking of culture, before I hop in, how big was it today for Nebraska to sign Carter?
It's huge. You got to win within your borders, right? If you're
Yeah.
building culture, the 1st thing is that wall. What are
Absolutely.
you doing inside that wall? And Jay Foreman was talking about it on his podcast, Inside the Huddle. He called it putting them in the back pocket, those scholarships in the back pocket. We don't want to give you an offer yet because as soon as we do, everyone else is knocking. Let's just kind of wait, keep you on the low end of the radar, try to get our guys first. And if it doesn't work, we'll go back to you.
Right.
You can't afford to do that. Those high school coaches talk about it. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're aware of the scholarship situation. So you got to treat those guys right. Getting a guy, 8-man football from Ainsworth. I mean, I'm just excited to see. That's huge. The fact that he had Georgia on the table and he still chose Nebraska, I mean, that says a lot that the culture inside Nebraska is still there and Matt Rule's doing a good job. I feel like it's not dead, but continuing to promote it, like get it back to its former strength where it truly was in the past.
You know, when he came out and first of all, I got a little nervous. All right, because I didn't realize their school mascot was Bulldogs.
Yeah, we played them.
You guys played against them?
Cedar Catholic and Ainsworth. Not in football because they played 8-man. But for basketball, we were pretty good athletes over there.
I didn't realize that it was the mascot was Bulldogs.
Same colorways.
Yeah. So man, I pull up. You know, he had it on his Instagram Live.
Yep.
Talking about Carter Nelson, the newest Nebraska recruit out of Ainsworth, Nebraska, which is about 4 hours away from Lincoln. And so I pull it up. In fact, I'm in front of Barnes & Noble. All right, I had a meeting that got canceled, so was rolling to buy some books. So I pulled up and look at it online. Man, I'm seeing all this Bulldogs gear. I'm thinking maybe he is going to Georgia. I mean, you never know. So, and I see him come out. He does it. And that was good to see that he committed to Nebraska. That was huge for us. Here's my thing, though, Harrison. Signing is the easy part. So, granted, you want him. You want him in your back pocket, like former those guys say. But signing a letter verbally, first of all, I didn't sign anything, first of all, because it's verbal.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, verbal is like asking for a date. She agrees or he agrees, but you ain't went nowhere yet.
Yeah, there's still stand up on the table.
There's still a lot because you know everybody's coming around. Everybody's sniffing because technically, okay, perfect example. How do we get Dan Kalen?
Hey, good point.
Think about that.
Raiola's out the door.
Raiola's at the door. Daniel Kalen was verbally committed to Missouri. Okay. Nebraska came sniffing because they kept those relationships there. And the attitude, again, towards don't burn any bridges.
Yep.
Keep everything open, and you never know what can happen. And here we are. We have Daniel Kalen, who, in my opinion, was probably the best recruiter on the staff. Because in my honest opinion, Harrison, if you don't get Daniel Kalen, you don't get McMorris. You probably don't get the other young man's name that came from there. Hall. You don't get Hall.
Devon Hall.
You don't get Devon Hall. And you probably don't get Carter Nelson either.
Yeah. It started, what was it, like 8 recruits?
8 recruits,
yeah.
bro.
It started with that. It started that momentum for sure because you saw it all line up. So I think you're right on that. You see that a lot of times with recruiting.
Right.
It takes one player, then all of a sudden you see the dominoes starts falling. It's almost like they're waiting, to see what that roster's building into. And it's like, okay, I can sign up for that now.
It's kind of like, so what you going to do?
Yep.
Well, what you going to do? Well, what you going to do? So as of right now, the way that the current landscape of college football right now with NIL, with the transfer portal, anyone that you get verbally, you got to keep recruiting them. You have to keep recruiting them because until the signing day happens in February, I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't mean anything, but right now, again, you just ask for the date and the partner accepted. You got to get in. You got to get on the paper, get that sign, that signature on the paper, and it's good to go from that aspect of it. So that part works, folks. Tonight we're talking about attitude, and my episodes will always be about attitude in some shape or form and how it relates to real life, how it relates to athletics. You know what, Harrison? People often ask it on the show in the mornings. Again, tune into the Drive with AD and Rav Monday through Friday. I'm thinking about Wednesday nights. He's like, man, you just drop it on Wednesday nights now? Monday through Friday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time. I dive into it sometimes on the AD Attitude Adjuster, but I'm always asked, okay, it seems like you're always in a good mood. No, I'm not. It's easy to flip the switch on when you know you're on camera. You got a microphone in front of your mouth or something like that. But there are days, Harrison, man, in particular, because 2 years ago, yesterday, I found out the news that I was cancer-free. And, bro, I'm going to tell you, there were literally, Harrison, there were mornings I did not want to get out of bed. There were nights I couldn't go to sleep because I was scared. I mean, scared. I'm thinking, okay, at the time, I'm 47 years old, and I had a very aggressive form of cancer. And I'm thinking, I don't think I'll see 48, because those thoughts, man, those negative thoughts come in they get real loud at night because things are quiet.
Yeah.
There's no phones ringing. There's no emails necessarily, things of that way. So my attitude of how I approached it was a key factor. Obviously, my faith was a huge factor, but also my attitude, how I approached my body, because doctors and scientists will tell you all the time, the attitude a person takes when they're sick has a huge impact on their physiology in their body.
Mm-hmm.
All that stems from my dad and my mom. And my father moved to Nebraska in 1963, in a nutshell. My grandfather, Williams, was in the military. Both of my two of my three brothers in the military. In fact, my brother Mark served in Desert Storm. My late brother Miles was in the Army as well. And my parents got here because my dad's oldest brother, my Uncle Donald, was stationed in Lincoln, Nebraska. So you know where the Lincoln Airport's at.
Yep. So
the Air National Guard is. That was all Air Force back in the late 50s and early 60s. And my Uncle Donald was stationed there from Pittsburgh. That's why I'm a huge Steelers fan. Normally, I got my Steelers cup rocking with me, man, but, it's too late for coffee. It ain't too late, but I'm not going to drink no coffee right now, man. I'll be up for a while if I do that.
That's why I don't need to see it.
Yeah, you see like, AD, I see it all the time. I actually took it home because we try to keep everything closed containers up here. But nevertheless, my dad's oldest brother, moved to Lincoln. He was stationed here. And their other brother, my Uncle Walter, was stationed on the East Coast. Well, one weekend on leave, my Uncle Walter was back in Pittsburgh and he was shot and killed. He was murdered. And so my dad's oldest brother, my Uncle Donald, who was living here in Lincoln, went back to the funeral in Pittsburgh. And all my dad's buddies said, hey, get Miles Davis out of here, my dad. Get him out of here. It's just not a place for him right now. And my dad my father would always share the story. Had his brother not got him out of Pittsburgh, there's no me. There's none of us, because he probably would have been, into some stuff he shouldn't have been into.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just my father and my mother, and my oldest brother Miles was just a baby at the time in 1963. Shortly after getting here, he became a man of faith, but he couldn't read. My dad was illiterate. He could not read. And my mother taught my dad how to read.
That's awesome.
The King James Version Bible. I mean, that's like reading Shakespeare, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like reading some Shakespeare. So, and shortly after that, they were in church, and someone started their house on fire. This is 1963, blacks and whites weren't singing Kumbaya, we are the world. But my father's attitude towards that, I'll never forget him sharing the story that my mother wanted to go back to Pittsburgh, didn't like Nebraska. Think about this, man, there's not a lot of people of color in Lincoln, Nebraska now in 2023. Can you imagine in 1963?
I'll say this, and this isn't, this isn't racial or anything. It's just what it is. But yeah, I was growing up, I didn't see a person of color until I was in junior high.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think so. Man, maybe like at a passing moment, but
just actually have a conversation.
Yeah, because that's when the smaller schools merge in,
right?
And then I think it was only like 2 kids. I won't say their names, but yeah,
that was it.
And
that was it.
Being me, we don't think anything of it. To you guys, it's a different pond.
It's a different pond.
Less people to talk to, less people that maybe understand you,
that can relate.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So my father, to your point, Harrison, you're spot on, because there wasn't a lot of people of color here in Nebraska. You had your athletes, etc., that were here, but that was about it. It was a handful. I mean, like literally a handful. And my mother wanted to move back. Their house got burned down, and my father said to my mom, as they're literally watching their house in flames, he goes, "At least we got rid of the water bugs." That was his attitude. That no matter what was going on, you can't always control the what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up here in Lincoln on the north side of town, I loved it. I loved growing up because we didn't have a lot at all, man. 6 kids, my father to feed as well. He was a janitor. I didn't make a lot of money, but man, we were rich because I was fortunate to have both my parents and a strong father, and growing up in our neighborhood, man, I grew up on 1305 North 25th Street, man. It's like 2 blocks away from the Salvation Army Community Center. And I'm the youngest out of 6, 4 boys, 2 girls. And our backyard, dude, we didn't have Wi-Fi. But no Wi-Fi. We had outside. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We had outside. And, dude, we didn't have any grass in the backyard because we played football, basketball, baseball in our backyard. In fact, my mom would always tell the neighbors, I'm not trying to grow grass. I'm raising kids. I'm not raising grass. I'm raising kids.
That's a smart move.
Absolutely. And so and our house was kind of like the Kool-Aid house. She always knew we were in our backyard. And the attitude they took towards that of raising us in that type of environment were huge dividends for all of us kids later on. Not that any of us kids are perfect and far from it, but we had a great foundation of what it meant. And so we'd be in our backyard playing, Harrison, man. And our first base, home plate was the back porch. First base was a tree stump. Second base was the alley. Third base was an old pavement. You didn't slide into third base unless you wanted to go to the ER real quick because it was a cement block. And our basketball court was where a garage used to be at. And my father had the garage. The garage was basically a dilapidated and fall down. So we finally had the garage just totally removed. Mm-hmm. And so that garage with that old pavement, that cement, that became our basketball court. And we hung our rim on the tree.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. So if you, a lot of times when we'd have our little ladder, because a lot of times you get dunked on, mainly me, so our backyard, man, was a haven of fun because we didn't have video games. When Atari came out, which is, I mean, you can buy that on eBay for probably some money right now.
Yeah, I think you're anywhere between like $500, $600.
Yes,
it's up there
for an Atari.
What year did that drop? Or time frame? Because I'm not.
I would
not
say
buyer,
anywhere
obviously.
between 80 to 84, 83 is when Atari first dropped.
Okay,
somewhere around that neighborhood.
But it was in your head. You weren't getting your hands on one anytime.
Oh no,
Okay.
We eventually got one.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, we knew. I was too young to remember. My older brothers and sisters knew mom and dad saved some money to get an Atari.
That's awesome.
They saved some money for that. There was a game called Pitfall. That was the one I remember the most. Was Pitfall.
Mm-hmm.
Donkey Kong came out later. But we didn't have video games, things like that. And of course, there were no cell phones, so we played outside. And the attitude we took towards that, man, was so much fun because when you don't have it, you don't know that you don't have it. So my parents established that attitude in us at a very young age. How this comes to Nebraska football, growing up so close to the stadium on game day Saturdays, Nebraska would score. We did score at one point, Harrison, a lot. Okay, you're going. When was this, bro? This is the Benny era? What are you talking about? Well, Nebraska would score, and we'd be in the backyard playing, man, and have our tough skin jeans on or grass stains and the rest of that stuff. And we'd be playing on a Saturday afternoon, Nebraska home game, and all of a sudden you would just hear, and we'd stop. We'd be looking around, and you'd hear it again, and you'd hear this chant, "Go Big Red, go Big Red." And if the wind blew just right, we'd see one of those stray balloons go above. We'd be like, "They're you'd be looking at the balloons."
There's 3 or 7,
yeah.
Maybe 6,
maybe 6. Yeah, and right now they tried to ban the balloons, man. I'm like, come on, man. With a balloon ain't never hurt nobody, man. So all of those things stemmed into my desire to run out of that tunnel, to put on those white pants, the 2 red stripes, to slip on that red jersey, and to see my name on the back of that jersey, and to put on that helmet with the red N, and to run out behind Coach Osborne. That was a dream of mine, man. And the attitude that the players had at that time. And I'm not saying they don't have it now, but I think when you don't know your history, you forget your history. You don't appreciate your history.
Yeah.
That is one of the key factors, in my humble opinion, that has hurt Nebraska football. There's obviously other factors, but when you don't appreciate or know your history, you don't appreciate it. I can remember the times of hearing Jarvis Redwine, marvelous Jarvis Redwine. In fact, his sons, Jarvis Jr., Josh Jr., those guys, and Jarvis Jr., buddies of mine, hearing that name on the radio. Marvelous Jarvis Redwine. The guys who are my age, 49 and older, remember that name. Actually, if you're about 45, you'd remember Jarvis Redwine. Roger Craig, Mike Rozier, the scoring explosion with Turner Gill, Mike Rozier, Irving Fryer. I can still, in 83, I was 9 years old when that tip pass in the Orange Bowl national championship game against Miami. I can still feel the frog in my throat because I was just ready to cry. In fact, not ready to cry. Here, let me keep it real, dog. I was in tears, man. I was in tears because we finally got to that championship and then we lost. But you know what I know? The attitude that stemmed from me the most as I got older? If Coach Osborne would have just kicked a field goal and tied the game, we would have been national championships. We'd have been national champions. His philosophy, his attitude was like, why would I come this far and walk away with a tie? You play to win. That's my man Herm Edwards said. You play to win the game, all right? So Coach Osborne could have got a championship in 83. Yeah, but do you really want to say it was a tie? You didn't win. Now, granted, the voters may have said you won. The press may have said you won. The scoreboard would have said 31-31 or 30-30, whatever it was. The attitude he took, and he was almost bewildered when people say, why did you just kick for the tie? He's like, because the tie's not winning. That attitude right there was a huge imprint on my life at 9 years old. I can still see Mike Knox, former Nebraska linebacker, cracking helmets, Steve Taylor, the late Kenny Clark, Richard Bell, wingback that played. I can go on and on and on with the names, but all of those guys, the way they played the game helped form and shape my attitude towards Nebraska. Even a kid like me who had offers from small schools, some big schools, but not very big schools, Air Force, and K-State wasn't any good at that time. I mean, They had more people in the band they did in the stands at the time. So when I had an opportunity to play for Coach Osborne, I remembered how he had the attitude to win, but to do it the right way. That's always stemmed with me all these years later, man. Folks, that was the first segment of the Attitude Over Everything podcast. Again, you can watch this live stream right now on the radio. We actually have the Royals game that's going on, but you can watch it live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, or go to Allo Channel 951. You can watch this. We're taking a break. We'll be right back talking more things Attitude. We also got a special guest we have coming up for you as well.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's efforts. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to the AOE with AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Aaron Davis.
Folks, we're back. It's the Attitude of Everything show. AD here in the studio. My man Harrison holding it down on the keyboard. It is cool to be here again, kicking this off. Again, you can watch it live. We got the Royals on the actual station, 9.7 The Ticket, the radio airways, but you can watch us on live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Allo 951. You can check those out as well, folks. The Attitude Over Everything. When I chose to go to Nebraska, when Nebraska was that spot, I wasn't a highly decorated recruit, far from it. I remember my recruiting class, man, had so many guys, Tommy Frazier, Mike Minner, Willis Brown, Riley Washington. I can go on and on and on the number of guys, man. Larry Arnold, Larry Townsend, Clinton Childs, Damon Benning, Matt Verzal. I can go on and on, man. There were so many guys, and the guys before us are the ones who laid the ground for us, though, man. So it was a definitely collective effort to win those championships we did, but it started with the attitude. And speaking of attitude, folks, we got 9-year NBA vet, Nebraska Hall of Famer, my guy for many years since high school, basically. We would battle back and forth. It wasn't a battle back and forth because he was so far everybody else. We got Eric Strickland on the line. Strick, what's happening, brother?
What's going on, AD? How are you, my friend?
My man, I can't even call it, man. Strick, I was telling him, man, it feels weird to be in the studio this late at night again, bro.
I know it, right? I feel the same way, but when we do WTF on Tuesdays, it's weird, but yet it's fun.
It is.
It's just a free flow time to be able to get with like close friends like yourself and I, to get with Cluster and just really chop it up on things of life and sports and situations and circumstances, and really just drop some nuggets, man, just on some things that we've lived and observed over the course of. So it's beautiful. I know you would prefer to be out on a golf course somewhere, but
hey, bro, Strick, I'm gonna tell you, when I seen that thermostat at 97, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Right?
It was way too hot out there, brother. Way too hot.
I heard that. It was a baker today. But, you know, being from Dallas and then moving here from Florida, I knew what to expect. But I like it that just a nice little breeze continues to you know, feel every now and then.
You're somewhat
as long as you're in the shade.
Absolutely acclimated to it. Strick, I mean, you need no introduction. You know, like I said, a 9-year vet, Hall of Famer here at Nebraska. Me and Strick go back here since high school. So I would read the Omaha World Herald to see where, because I was receiver, he was receiver, and Reggie Ball at the time as well, former Husker. I was playing receiver. John Akoa was that other one, right? Strick from Papillion as well.
Yeah.
He was a bad boy too. So I'd always be reading the state rankings as far as receiving yardage. I was like, man, who in the world is this Strickland dude, man? He's balling out like Jerry Rice. But you think about it, he had basically Randall Cunningham throwing the ball and Clester Johnson, another Husker who's, the WF show that Clester and Strickland have on. Strick, let me ask you this. When did your love, because we'll get in the basketball part and the baseball part in a second. When did your love for football, did you love football first, basketball first, or baseball first? What was your first love sports-wise?
Well, my best sport and my favorite sport was definitely football.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it was just one of the craziest things, being that I played all of them. I didn't play baseball until my senior year, and that was just by happenstance because my marketing teacher, who was a DECA teacher, just basically says to me, because he knew I wasn't playing football that year. And the reason I wasn't playing was just crazy because I was a different kid. I used to look at collective bargaining agreements and try to figure out what was most suitable for me if I decided to put my blood, sweat, and tears into it and give my all in all. And I looked at the football CBA and I was just like, ugh. Yeah, that don't look very promising. If I play 4 years and I'm doing my thing, and then all of a sudden they just say, "Well, you know what? There's this young fella coming up. I think we can just cut old Strick and go with this young fella here." I didn't like that. You know what I mean? So your money's not your money. Your money is only your money depending on how long they decide to keep you. And sometimes it becomes a business decision based on. Well, we need to restructure. Or we didn't know. Well, how come it ain't me? This is what the going rate was. How come it ain't that? So that's why I decided to go. I looked at basketball. I felt it was probably my worst sport. But I felt
the NBA.
The best opportunity. The best CBA I felt at the time, and I didn't have to wait. So I knew that in baseball, after playing in, rookie ball and short season A, I was like, dang, what if I get to AAA and I get stuck here for a few years? If a person in my position is doing really well in the bigs, I'm like, I didn't like that. I didn't like the possibility of being in the minor leagues for 5-6 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Barnstorming on charter buses all over the country.
Exactly. And they were long, too. Please believe me. Let me tell you. 12, 14 hours. Yeah, it was not fun.
Strick, so you which is phenomenal. It's just mind-blowing, is you started playing baseball your senior year and you get drafted by the Marlins. Was football and basketball even something you wanted to think about in college when you got drafted?
Well, when I got drafted, it was crazy because the Yankees at that time wanted to take me in the first round, but they didn't want me to play. They didn't want me to play basketball. They were like, "Look, we just want you to strictly play baseball." So the Marlins were like, "Listen, we'll draft you in the middle round, and you can do both, and we'll pay for your school, and we'll give you a bonus." I was like, "Deal." So they did. They held up to their word. This is why. Even though I wasn't on scholarship at the University of Nebraska, I still, my school was still paid for because the Marlins were actually paying for my school. So yeah, I would look at it. I looked at it and I just said, I felt that baseball gave me the cerebral aspects that I was able to take into account for the sports that I was playing. And football gave me the physicality that I was able to use in the and I felt that basketball encompassed all of it. So that's why I really set my eyes. And listen, I'm not smart. It really was a coach that sat me down in baseball and said to me, "Look, Strick, we want to move you up to AA, but we need you to be playing full time." And it's time he said, "I think you'll be a hell of an MLB player, but I also think you could probably play in the NBA." And he just was like, "But if you decide to go the basketball route, go explore it. If it doesn't work out, we'll welcome you back." So I'm not that smart. It worked out.
Strick, you had so many opportunities in athletics, and you capitalized on those. You look at the success you had at Nebraska as a basketball player in the Marlins, had the opportunity to play pro basketball for as long as you did. What was the part, not when you're just doing well, when things were going well, I'll put it that way, because I'm going to flip to the other side on the other side of this. When things were going well, what was the attitude you took? Because you knew that you had to come in, and you've got some amazing stories that we can't dive in, we don't have time to dive in all tonight, but you had to come in with a chip on your shoulder a little bit. What's the attitude you took towards when you were trying out for teams in the summer camps and the different games that you had, how they were evaluating you? What was your mentality? Because they still were telling you that you were tweener, where he's not a point guard, he's not a two guard, he's not a three. You heard all the negativity around you. How did your attitude play an impact on you making it onto a team, first of all?
That's a great question, AD. It speaks to just your ability to continuously share gospel knowledge to those that you do so across the country. But the question and the answer to that question is the chip on my shoulder was built for me. Because I was consistently told, like what you just said, I could actually say that I'm one of the ones that helped to change the landscape of what the NBA has become. I can honestly say that I'm one of the initiators of why Draymond Green can be Draymond Green, or why Gilbert Arenas could be Gilbert Arenas, or why guys like that can be combo guys and not necessarily be traditional. And it was because I was able to do that. Now, it was set for me because going and trying out of these teams, a lot of them turned me down. A lot of them, like, for example, the Arkansas coach right now, Eric Musselman, I went to trial for the team that he was coaching in Tampa, and he basically told me I couldn't play. He basically told my agent I was horrible. So when I made it to the Mavericks and I got sent back to the CBA, I literally circled that date that we played them in West Palm Beach, because he was a CBA coach at this time. And he had a player by the name of Mark Macon. You would remember
Yes,
him.
indeed. Played
at
Temple. Yep.
Phenomenal scorer.
Yes.
And I was the backup to Rick Brunson, who is Jalen Brunson's dad. And I came in and I shut Mark Macon down, and I killed everybody that they threw at me, because I literally said, I'm going to let you know and make you remember.
And
it was the same feeling I had when they canceled that team, because the Racers actually basically told me the same thing when I came to try out for them.
Wow.
So it was those situations and circumstances, and then being cut by the Mavericks is where I looked at every situation with an attitude of opportunity. That if a door was cracked in any form or fashion for me, that I was going to kick it in.
Strick, you mentioned, because you've told me that story. That's why I was glad you brought that one up with Mark Macon. I can still see the cover of him on different magazines, Mark Macon, because the dude had crazy handles. And for you to go in and shut him down the way that you did, so you make it in, because you figure you play for the Mavericks, the Knicks, Vancouver, Boston, Indiana, Milwaukee. I think there's one more in there. I think Phoenix too, right?
No, Boston.
Boston. There we go. Boston. All those teams you played with and all the different adversity you had to deal with. I want to hear some more success part of it, though. But, Strick, I also want to hear about the adversity, how you dealt with that. Let me know, when did you know, because of your attitude, the approach you took with the chip, like you said, the chip was made for me. I thought that was powerful when you said that, bro. The chip was made for me, not against you. When you knew that you made it, now obviously you have to stay hungry. You have an attitude of staying with a sense of urgency, etc. But when did you say to yourself, I can play with these guys?
I would have to say that when I got sent back to the CBA in Dallas, that even though I wasn't playing, I first got sent to Oklahoma City, then I got sent to Quad Cities, which is in Iowa, like Davenport, Rock Island, that whole side of Iowa. But it was when I had to go and sit down and have the conversation with my coach and tell him, listen, I don't plan to be here. So I understand you got your team. If you're not going to play me, you need to trade me. It was then going to that Iowa team and being the backup, not even a starter, but telling myself, I'm going to use this opportunity to become better. I'm going to work that much harder so that when I return, they're not going to be able to deny me. So the situation, I believe it was God, to be honest. The door opened and I ended up having 40 against Grand Rapids. And then I might get called into my coach. I thought I was in trouble or something. And he says, well, you're going back. You're getting called up. The Mavericks called you back. And I said, oh, wow. He says, yeah, you got to fly to Vancouver. I think either that night or tomorrow. So I literally just had to, we're on a road trip. So I literally just had the stuff that was in my bag. I had to send my dad out to get my car and get him my other stuff. And I go back. I played that first game against Vancouver. Big Country was on that team. And I ended up having like 13 points, 5 assists, and a solid game. But the next night is when I really knew. It was because I was called to match up against Mitch Richmond, who was an all-star at the time.
The rifle.
And I ended up scoring like 25 points, shutting him down, holding him to like 20, and we won the game. And I knew at that point that they're not going to be able to deny me. And so from that moment on, I knew that I belonged.
Folks, we got 9-year NBA vet, Nebraska Hall of Famer Eric Strickland with us. Strick, can you stick with us for one more segment?
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. And to close the show out, we come back. We're going to go away for about 4 minutes. We want to hear about what Strickland did with his attitude was when things weren't going well, the injury bugaboo that can test everybody's mental resolve. Folks, it's the Attitude of Everything podcast. We got the 9-year NBA vet, Hall of Famer Eric Strickland. We'll be right back with you. 4.5. Don't leave.
Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? Worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish, and don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're
Definitely coming back in the future.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership, sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
Back to the AOE with AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Aaron Davis.
Folks, we are back. It's Wednesday night, and if you're in Lincoln or surrounding areas, man, stay cool out there because it is hot. It is hot. Who's also cool? Strick, we still got you, brother?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Absolutely. Folks, we got one more segment left, and I'm going to cut right to the chase. Strick, many of us know about your accolades, the successes, all the highs, the Garden, the toughest guys out there, Allen Iversons, the Makins, the different teams you played on in the Garden in New York. I'm sorry, in the Garden in New York, and also the Boston Garden in Boston. You played all those things. But Strick, I want to talk on this last segment about attitude. What was the attitude you took when you got hurt? Because it was Achilles, wasn't it? Was it your Achilles?
That was after basketball.
That's right.
But there was, that is a problem, because the worst part about that and the frustration of it, as well as the mental depression of it, was that it happened after my career.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning my whole sports career in baseball, in basketball, in football, never had any major injuries or surgery. And then afterwards, I want to now have Achilles. That's what was so frustrating about it. And then after that, you get pulmonary embolism that came from it. So those were some frustrating times too, especially when, it's the pulmonary embolism when you're a healthy body. And you start to blame and look at the doctor as to why isn't it that he didn't give me any coagulants. And so you can continually play the blame game or not. Now, in basketball, I had a second-degree ankle sprain. Now, one of the things that I learned from that was when you had that ankle sprain, the NBA team don't care. Like, they don't care that you're trying to give your best, do your best, perform at the best way possible, give your all, hopefully for the team to win. But if you can't perform, they look at it from a standpoint of you not being you being on the court. If you're on the court, you need to be at your optimum. And that's something that I learned from that. And I also learned to make sure that if you're a younger player, my attitude changed in that I need to make sure that my body's absolutely healed. It is ready to go, so that I can be at my best whenever I step on the court or step on the field.
You know, Strick, you mentioned that the attitude you had to take to make sure your body was right. Let's say there's someone out there that's watching this, is listening, whether it's a job loss, a relationship, a setback, and anything, and it's just any kind of adversity they may be dealing with, and their attitude's been kind of hit and thwarted quite a bad. What was the attitude? Now, you think about this. You're playing pro ball, and then all of a sudden you have to stay on the sidelines and watch. What's the encouragement? What are a few bits of words of advice you give to people who are on the kind of the sidelines of life right now because they're waiting for an outcome? They're doing everything they can, just like you're going through rehab, through your body, to get your body back together. You're rehabbing it. And there's people that are making decisions to get their situation back. What's the advice you would give them to where they're not back in the action they want to be in, but they're just kind of just in a standstill mode right now, kind of a holding pattern? What would be advice you would give to them?
The advice I would give is become a sponge. That's the time where you want to be observant. You want to learn. You want to observe. You want to know what the coach or the CEO or what your boss or your manager has a desire of, and how can you become an extended arm of what that is. Therefore, you don't have to fight the battle. Therefore, you can be a part of the battle when you do return. It's understanding more about your surroundings and what's going on, and get a chance to learn who's with you, who's for you, who's in the trenches with you, who is celebrating and wishing for your downfall. It's a time to grow and to have a learned and discerning type of mentality about yourself. It's a moment that you would be easy to sulk in.
Right.
It's one that you would be easy for you to kind of just put your head down, but it's one where you need to have your head up, where you need to be in your absolute observant mode and taking everything in as it comes around.
You know what, Strick, what you said is so powerful, bro, because it's the epitome, and you have been the epitome of the word resilience, which is a huge part of an attitude, because you bounce back from setbacks and difficulties, and you foster, and with that, you maintain a positive perspective, even though you're dealing with obstacles. You know that you're going to bounce back, and you use them as a learning opportunities, not as one that are knocking you down, but ones that are building you up once again. Strick, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to join me on my first episode, man, of the Attitude Over Everything. Eric Strick, you and Cluster shows on what nights? On Tuesday nights? Monday nights, actually, isn't it? Tuesday nights
from 8 to 9.
Tuesday nights.
And it's just fun, man. It's just a place where we come and laugh and we talk, and we really talk some ish.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
and just chop it up.
Some things and some topics that maybe some people may not want to dig into sometimes, but we'll drop some science and drop some knowledge, and we'll laugh a little bit. So it's pretty fun.
I love it. Folks, that's a 9-year NBA vet, Nebraska Hall of Famer Eric Strickland. I am Aaron Davis. Strick, I appreciate you. Appreciate Harrison. Folks, this is the Attitude Over Everything. That was our first episode. We look forward to joining you many more Wednesday nights, and join and listen to all of the episodes of all the different personalities and shows that come on, because you won't be disappointed. Folks, it's the AOE, Aaron Davis, 9.7 The Ticket. We'll see you next week.